new terms and conditions. Do you want to read and sign them now? I'm like, no, I don't. But every, like, at least twice a day, it interrupts whatever's going on to go like, iCloud has new terms and conditions. It's like, you can fucking use iCloud. Get out of here. Leave me alone. As if there's not enough crap going on my phone.
What are you doing?
It's like, I have a friend. There's a friend that lives over there, and when I hear their door, I go and check. So there's a friend. Got a friend that lives there. His tail looks so weird when it's growing out.
Yeah.
It's like a rope or something.
Yeah. We'll leave your tail next time.
Yeah.
I just was afraid that there was tangles in it.
Yeah. Feeling any better? Yeah. Sickness-wise, a little better every day. Back-wise, it's hard to tell, man. I think it's getting better because I now have one position that I can reliably lay in that doesn't hurt too bad and I can get to sleep. So I feel like it's healing, but I also feel like I'm re-injuring it a lot. Just because I have this, like, urge to stretch. And so, I don't know. I hope it's getting better. That is my hopes.
Yeah. All you youngins, that's what you gotta look forward to.
Yeah, your body just betraying you as you get older. It's like, nah. You can't lift your arm over your head anymore. Nah, you're not gonna be able to sleep the way that you've slept your whole life anymore. You have to figure out a new position, bro. Oh, check it out, it's the ghetto bird. I can't look up and see it. It'll cross by. It's the ghetto bird. Wish we could listen to music together. Put on Ghetto Bird by Ice Cube. Run, run, run from the ghetto bird. The government. So what's up with everybody this morning? How's it hanging? Already getting off. My phone's about to die. I wish everyone a good day. Damn. Plug your phone in. How's your phone already about to die? It's so early in the day. Go plug that phone in.
I don't know. I remember, like, this old wives' tale I heard that, like, it's better for your phone to get down to 0 or something for its battery, but it's probably bullshit.
I mean, it probably is. The batteries that they have degrade. I know it's true of, like, the lithium cells that you use for vaping. Like, that's a piece of advice that they'll give you is, like, let your shit run, at least down to 10% or whatever before you charge it, because every time you charge it, it loses just a little fraction of its former glory. So it's probably true, but it doesn't really work very well with phones. Like, you don't want your phone to die. You can't have your phone die, because then you won't be in contact with every single person you've ever met. was for older type batteries. New batteries aren't made that way anymore. Okay. I wouldn't know. I'm not a battery guy. Smartphones have just made society worse. How so? How do you feel? How do you feel they've made society worse? What's up with your third-party take on Twitter? Was curious if you could elaborate a bit. Well, there was a poll done amongst registered voters that said that 56% of them would be willing to consider a third-party candidate with their vote if it comes down to Joe Biden versus Trump. And that's a similar sentiment that you see almost every year. And you can extrapolate that out to a lot of non-voters as well. So a lot of principled non-voters would come screaming out of the woodwork to vote. I mean, how do you think Bernie did so well? Do you think that was just the Democratic establishment all showing up for Bernie? Bernie did well because people who typically ignore politics showed up and primaried for him. So there's this this position I have. It's unpopular because every time I bring it up, people get mad. But if you really give a shit, you need to stop talking to other Democrats, and you need to start talking to people like me who don't vote. We're the largest voting bloc in the United States.
The most diverse, too, probably.
Yep. The largest, most diverse, and one of the most politically aware voting blocs in the United States is the non-voter. There are people who just don't pay attention to politics among us, and there are people like me who are all up in it and just refuse on principle to vote for one fascist over another. And so if you really care about pushing forward like an actual leftist agenda, you need to start talking to me. And you're going to need to find some different ways of doing it too.
Yeah, the whole doom and gloom doesn't really work.
Nope. And the average, like, oh, he's fractionally better than Trump would be, or whatever, the lesser of two evils shit, that don't work. That don't work on us. So long as the only people that are making political decisions are people that are just out and out willing to play the fucking football game, you're never going to get any change. You're never going to get anything like a fucking mandate. So you got to start talking to me.
The whole like single issue voters for like abortion, that ain't working anymore. Biden's not stopping all these states from doing that.
Not only that, but that type of stuff only works with people that are already playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like those like wedge issue vote things. That only kicks the football between like the undecideds and the blue and the red. It doesn't even speak to the people that don't fucking vote. My mom's a neolib. Every time I bitch about Biden, I hear at least it's not Trump. I mean, that's what you were hearing before. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what they elected him on. That was basically how Biden got elected. Oh, at least he's not Trump. And nobody in the lead up wanted to talk about, like, yeah, but what's Biden going to do? Like, what are you signing your name next to?
It was so hilarious. Like, people just bought what was on his website.
Oh, yeah. Like, people were just making the argument, like, he's going to cancel student debt. He's going to deschedule marijuana. And he's going to end the fucking... He's going to defund the police. And he's going to blah, 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 blah. He's done the opposite. He's going to fix the immigration. He's going to take the kids out of the cages.
You have to do a whole lot better than a website to convince people now.
Yep. And they're not even really convinced. That's the thing that makes it so disgusting, is that like most of the people that are making those arguments are not so fucking deluded that they think anything like that's going to happen. They're just playing the football game. They're playing the good fan. Like, you know, when you're a Raiders fan and the Raiders are going to the Super Bowl, you know, you don't sit there and pick apart all the problems you see with the Raiders. You magnify the possible positives. Oh, the Raiders' fucking defensive line has been on point this year. They're gonna shut down the quarterback. You know, they're gonna shut down the midfield pass completely. They're gonna at least get 2 picks. They're gonna at least get 2 picks this game. At least. You know, that's what you do. It's the same shit. Like every time an electoral cycle comes around and you hear one of these like vote blue no matter who robots, that's all they do. They're Sunday morning, Monday morning quarterbacking, you know, or Sunday afternoon quarterbacking just before the game. Here's how it's gonna go. Oops, sorry.
Okay. I just gotta get another one out of here at some point.
How it feels to be a Bengals fan, I can only imagine.
Dipped your toe in for, what was it, like 2 games or something?
I tried one game.
Yeah.
Because I was sick of the fucking Raiders. And I was like, well, I'm going to pick a team that I think looks cool on the field. And the Bengals have that cool tiger outfit. So I was like, that's pretty dope. Be cool to have some merch with that on it. I'll try being a Bengals fan. And I rooted for them for one game and I just felt dirty. I felt filthy. I could just see the Raider Nation looking at me with disdain. And I was like, can't do it. American electoralism is a dark, empty highway with only a Burger King and a McDonald's, and you're starving. Do you tempt fate and hope there's better food at the next exit? Yeah. Yeah. No, actually, what needs to happen is some better food needs to be built. And that's the biggest fear for lesser of two evilists. They don't even want to talk about building something else. All they want to talk about is, look, here's the reality today. It's Burger King or it's McDonald's. Here's the reality today. And if you go like, what about if we shoot for like in the next 4 years, we add another restaurant and see if people like that a little better? That's impossible. That's impossible. Burger King and McDonald's, they have a stranglehold on it. It's like, well, can I ask your opinion on something? Well, yeah, you go ahead and throw it out.
Asking to ask is a little...
Yeah, asking to ask. I mean, that's what this whole shit is about, is asking me questions. So, fire away. Oh. I wish there was a way to like just wrap my arm up.
Yeah.
Like right here. And just force myself to keep it there.
Get a sling.
Maybe like right there. Yeah, like right there. Maybe a sling, yeah. A sling might help. But I'm afraid it's just going to put more weight because it's like the shoulder joint that's hurt. Shoulder and the back, like my neck, that interfaces with it. Whatever that is in there is what is injured. And so I'm afraid that like slinging my arm would just put more weight on that fucking joint. But it feels way better if I don't move this hand or this arm. Hand is fine. Any movies you've recently seen? Yeah, we watched Nobody. Bob Odenkirk. That was a really good movie.
Yeah. Subverted a lot of expectations.
Yeah, it's just like a good action romp. You know what I mean?
I didn't like immediately call it like I do
Yeah.
in some movies.
Right. And, yeah, it was a kind of an expectation-defying little action movie. Had some cool set-piece action in it. A cool pseudo story. I loved that there was really no story. Like they resisted the need to explain everything about
Yeah.
what was going on and just kind of let you make inferences. And I love when a movie does that.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a movie maker saying to me, "You're smart enough to put two and two together. I don't have to fucking spend 15, 20 minutes of my movie in exposition mode.
Yeah, because like
You can get it."
another movie would like have like cut to the alphabet agencies and like
Oh
have them
yeah, they would have had
explain the
him
whole thing.
put a fucking flashback in black and white
Yeah.
and shown like a whole 15 or 20-minute scene of what he used to do.
Yeah.
You know, that would have been a lesser movie. This movie, it's just told from his perspective, and it's not over explained, and you get to make inferences, and that's always a smart thing. How many non-voters are really that convincible in an ideal situation, in your opinion? I mean, you know, the average Joe. I don't really think you can apply the average Joe to non-voters. There are people all over the fucking spectrum, all over the racial, religious, you know, right-wing, left-wing spectrum that don't vote. And they don't vote because they, by and large, feel that politics is a scam, that electoralism is a scam, and that their participation in it almost makes them dupes. I can tell you that's how I feel.
Like even the ones that are like non-politically invested, they're non-politically invested because they don't see a difference between the two.
Yeah, almost everybody has a family member. I know I did. My granddad didn't vote. And I remember asking him why he didn't vote. And he said, "Politicians are crooks. And I don't support crooks." And I think you will find that exact sentiment echoed all throughout that group of people. And it's something that's just never addressed by electoralism. And it's a legitimate gripe. The people that we're electing are rip-off artists. They've got their hands in our pockets. I'm not going to go down and waste my time supporting one or the other of those people that's going to have their hand in my pocket. Right. Almost everybody's had a conversation like that with somebody and their family or a friend, usually an older person. And that's usually the answer that you'll get. I don't vote because it's all bullshit. It's all a flim-flam. And nobody on the side of electoralism wants to address that in any way. It's all a sham. It's all a fraud. It's all a work. And they want you to put your stamp of approval on it by voting. Fuck that. I'm not playing the game.
Like, well, this one's a bigger crook than that one.
Right. This one's probably more crooked, though. It's like, they're both fucking crooks. It's the same shit. You know? This one's probably going to be less reprehensible towards immigrants. They're both reprehensible to immigrants. This one's probably going to be less damaging to the environment. They're both fucking going to rape the environment. None of this is even in contention. But when you ask a hardcore left-right electoralist to justify why you as a person should go and tacitly sign your name underneath something like that, they get all mad at you because you're questioning the fundamental problem that they choose to ignore. So that's how you get to people in the middle, and it's not going to come out of the DNC, it's not going to come out of the RNC, it's got to be a third way. It's got to be a labor-based party, in my opinion, run by unionists.
Yeah, you get the unions, and that's a viable party.
Right.
Union votes are hugely important in elections.
Like, look at the problems that everybody's having now. People having to work 2-3 jobs. I mean, the time is ripe for creation a party like this. But the problem is that there's just no willpower amongst the voted public to do any of that. Not voting doesn't solve anything. Neither does voting. That's the whole point. If you care about the environment, your vote did nothing to help the environment. In fact, it probably hurt the environment. Joe Biden has just opened up pipelines and started offshore drilling again.
Did you hear about that guy that set himself on fire in front of the... Yeah.
Didn't even cover it on the news.
Yeah, but he
A
did
dude
it...
self-immolated on the Capitol steps. Did you hear about it on the news? A dude self-immolated on the Capitol steps because the planet is dying.
Or the Supreme Court.
Right.
But, yeah. He felt that fucking, like, hopeless about nothing being done.
Yep.
And they don't want to, like, cover why.
No.
Because
you have to ignore all that. They want you focused on the soap opera. Next time. Right now, we've all got to subvert our expectations for something to be done immediately, because we're going against Trump, guys. So we gotta unite around, and then next time we can address it. Next time, rapidly approaching, nothing addressed. Nothing even begun to be addressed. You want me to vote? Address that. Address the stagnation. Address the gridlock in Congress. Address the corruption at every level of the federal government. Address the fucking financial crimes being committed by people that are in government. Insider trading. Address that. Because if you want me, I'm sorry, dude. My name and my consent means something to me. It would mean something to me to go and sign my name underneath somebody who I wanted to be my leader. And if that person is a rapist, a racist, an oligarch, a crooked businessman, I'm not voting. I'm not doing it.
Like, go try reading a budget sometime and see how much shit is in it that makes no sense.
I'm just not doing it. I'd rather see it all burn. That's just the truth. I'd rather see the whole corrupt fucking lot of it just sag and fall to rot under its own pendulous fucking pustule weight. Because at that point, whoever's left has a chance to fucking learn some lessons and maybe make something better. So you gotta address that.
That's what happened to the British Empire. They fucking slowly collapsed because people started standing up against them.
Yep. It needs to happen here. America needs to be refocused on itself and its own citizenry. Yeah. I'm not interested in playing your like self-soothing game. I can't self-soothe. When it comes to shit like the planet dying, when it comes to shit like the economic system set squarely against the worker, when it comes to all of the problems that we face as a species, war, degradation, famine, I can't self-soothe. I can't engage in your comforting little ritual of showing up every 2 years and voting and pretending it matters, and then making excuses for why nothing happened. I can't do it. I won't do it. So if you want me to vote, you're going to have to give me something worth voting for. Bernie Sanders would have been that. If Bernie Sanders would have actually made it to the general election in either of those elections, I would have went down and voted for the man. Period.
You think he should have just run as an independent and he would have had an actual chance?
I don't know that he would have had any better chance, but I do think he should have run as an independent. So you find me a person that I genuinely believe shares at least some of my desire to make some radical fucking change to the way that we do business. I'll vote. You hand me another saggy DNC weirdo, I'm not voting. Sorry. Weird, pale, vacant-eyed DNC zombie that placates me with the things I like to hear and then immediately like I've been down that road, dude. It's a long and bumpy trail behind me.
Biden's more orange now.
Yeah, it is weird. You did find a picture where Biden was more orange than Trump.
Yeah. It was that thing that you like quote tweeted or whatever.
Oh yeah.
About people, like 58% of people would rather.
Yeah,
vote.
Biden was. Yeah, if you go look at my Twitter, there's a picture where Biden is way more orange than Trump. What's going on? Why is everyone turning orange?
Not quite like Boehner level orange. He was the one that was like, he was like Speaker of the House or whatever.
Yeah, Boehner, yeah.
He was extra, no Dexter orange.
You like to cry too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boehner was a crybaby. You like to cry a lot. Why is America such a conservative country? Because America's political system has been subverted by its business class for 100 years or more, at least. Wholly owned and operated by the business class, and business change is bad for business. Social upheaval is bad. You know what's good for business? The good old status quo. Predictable profit margins. There's your answer. Period, point blank. That's why we live in such a conservative country. You know what's good, reliable fucking cash in? War. You hear people talking about, like, if you've heard a politician or a military person from the United States talking about the importance of supporting the freedom and autonomy of people in Ukraine, those people are all lying. Those people are high up enough that they know the truth. It's about money. It's about cashing in.
Even foreign aid, that's about influence.
Mm-hmm.
We're very selective about who we aid.
Foreign aid is an investment. It's like you ever meet a person that's always willing to do a favor, but it's because they want something on you? You ever have a person like that almost aggressively tries to do favors because they want to be able to ask you for favors? They want to enter into this transactional relationship where at some point they're going to ask you a big ass favor and you're not going to be able to say no. That's what foreign aid is. See, that's what frustrates me about people. They think Paul's unreasonable for not voting. Meanwhile, he's screaming, bring me somebody worth a fuck. Yeah. And if you bring me a member of the oppressor class, I'm not going to engage in complex moral calculus to discover how many tenths of a percentage point less bad this person is going to be than this person. I'm not going to play the game. You give me somebody worth a fuck, and I'll vote for him. Period. I've always been that way, too. I'm a non-voter only due to lack of a candidate. Give me a candidate. Give me somebody that I actually believe. Give me somebody with a history of changing things and fighting against the status quo. Bernie Sanders was that guy. Would have voted for him.
Now he's fucking ancient. And
he's way too old to keep doing it. Yeah, he's way too old to keep doing it, and he's shown that he's going to just kind of like bend the knee to the DNC's bullshit. He had a heart attack, yeah. On the last campaign trail, he had a fucking heart attack. He's too old.
I still see people hoping like he's gonna do it in 2024.
I mean, he's even teasing it. He said he's saying like he hasn't ruled it out if Biden doesn't run. Like we haven't ruled it out. Yeah. It's like we have. I mean, come on, dude. You can't have a dude that's going to be fucking 90 after his first, well into his 90s after his first fucking run. It just doesn't work. Can't do it.
Yeah, unless he picked like the most amazing vice or whatever.
And my contention with people that are like, well, the DNC is fractionally less evil than what we would get from an RNC candidate, so that we got to do that. And then the reason that I'm against them is that because the and then never happens. Notice, the and then never happens. Never comes to be. Never comes around. The and then time needs to be spent building a completely ground up new labor movement in this country with a political arm. I think the best thing that we could be advocating for now is to have these Starbucks unions that are blossoming, and these Amazon unions that are blossoming, and these other unionized factories that weren't unionized last year come together under a broad political organization and start putting candidates forth. Period. With labor messages. Economic populism. Everybody should be able to afford a house. Nobody should have to work 2 jobs to feed their family.
It's like you can appeal to conservatives with that. You can say, you know, let's go back to the traditional family where one income was enough to support a family.
You don't even have to bring it up like that.
Yeah.
A conservative knows what it means to have another helping of turkey on their table, just as much as a Democrat does. There's more commonality between people of political polar opposites than there are differences. And you've got to find a political movement that speaks to the humanity. That's post-political.
I wish I could have downloaded that Antiunion video I had to watch for that one job. It disappeared from the thing, of course, after.
It didn't disappear.
Yeah.
You're under strict,
Yeah.
you send it back to the company. Each one of them has a serial number on it.
Yeah.
That's tied to the store that it went to. And if you as a manager don't return that tape, you're fired.
No, like it was like part of like the little like onboarding website, so it's like it theoretically should have still been accessible after I watched it.
Yeah, well, if you set up OBS and watched it and recorded it, you could have gotten it. Yeah.
But it disappeared when I got home.
Yeah. Yep. I can't think of any tangible choices of a person I'd want to be president. Does anyone appeal to you? No. I don't think that there's any real will to put forth a non-democratic, non-Republican candidate of any stripe. And the ones that do come forth, I think are kind of weak candidates. Like I don't really think Jill Stein is it. I like a lot of her policy, but she's not a politician. She doesn't have that politician thing.
Yeah, they don't have real fire. They know that, you know, they concede. Or
the last kind of like firebrand independent that I remember liking a lot was Ralph Nader, like a radical consumer advocate. And he was fiery and passionate, but they fucking kept him off the debate stage, and they fucking, you know what I mean? They buried his ass. But yeah, we need somebody that's got a little fucking fire in their belly. Somebody that can compete with this like hard ass rhetoric that's become the norm.
And like these third parties are too fractured too. Like there's like 50 of them.
There needs to be one umbrella.
Yeah.
And it needs to be a labor umbrella, and there needs to be a new American Labor Party. Period.
Like, you think libertarians would be easy enough to get under the folds?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And even if they aren't, we don't need every fucking person under the fold. We just need fucking 51%. You know? You don't got to shoot for like 100% consensus. We just have to scalp enough conservatives under the labor banner, enough libertarians and undecideds and non-voters. Fire up enough people to make a fucking movement and challenge this orthodoxy. Because shuffling every couple of years into the voting booth and crowing about voting for the fucking Democrat, it's accomplishing jack shit. Let's get real.
Yeah, where was like the obstructionism of the squad? Like, not concerned with getting reelected, but just causing as much chaos as they could in their 2 years.
That's what I was led to believe by their rhetoric that they were going to do. In fact, I remember there was a speech, I'm paraphrasing, but AOC made during her first run where it was like, I'm not interested in political clout. I'm not interested in getting along with the establishment. And I'm not really interested in getting reelected. I'm interested in going and being a disruptive force and forcing the issue on Medicare for all and labor and blah, 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 blah. That's a paraphrasing, but that's basically what she said. And she's done the exact opposite. She's been a useful little tool. She's being groomed to be the next Pelosi. When Pelosi's flesh vessel fails her and she moves to the dark ether beyond, there'll need to be a new host for the demon inside of her.
Yeah,
And dude, that had to be devastating for AOC fans. That fucking Iron Dome vote.
Yeah.
I only wish that they were mic'd up. I wish I could hear what Pelosi was saying to her. I really do.
It was probably something along of like, this is gonna kill your career.
Right. Yeah, you've got tons of Jews in your district.
Yeah.
And they're gonna turn on you, and you will never ever, and if you screw us, even if you do get reelected, you're never gonna find a home here. You get on board with this, or you start packing your shit. And instead of saying fuck you, I'm taking a stand, and I'm going to tell everybody what you just said to me, too. I'm going to tell everybody about the political fucking blackmail that goes on here. Nah, she doesn't care enough.
She was just crying and like, yes, Mommy Pelosi. Yeah, it's like, go listen to Pelosi like 40 years ago.
Yep. She was like a progressive firebrand. All about Medicare for all. California fucking like hard leftist now. Would have been considered on the far left with Bernie. Give her a 25 or whatever it's been year fucking Senate career, isn't it 30?
Let's see.
I think it's 30-year Senate career. Look what she is.
$1987, so almost 40 years.
So, I don't know, man. If that's your fucking plan for the future, then I'm not with you. The continuous re-election of that, continuous strengthening of that paradigm, if that's your fucking political advocacy, then no thanks. Barking up the wrong fucking tree with me. Thanks, Jersey.
Yeah. Like, she's literally been in office like almost your whole lifetime.
Since I was 7 years old. Here, Russia's planning on cutting gas supply to Bulgaria, and yeah. I briefly read like the headlines about it this morning. Yep. It's just like economic warfare. It's an escalation in response to an escalation. America is dumping tons of weapons
into Ukraine that are causing tons of damage to the armored columns of Russians, and very well may have caused tons of damage to a very important Russian warship and shit. And so Russia is going to punish the West, economically speaking.
Poland's taken in the majority of refugees, or at least like the point of
Right.
the refugees.
This is why war bad. How far do you think the escalation will go? I don't know. That's the scary thing about this. That's why you don't catch me fucking goose stepping along with the fucking Slava Ukraini crowd with the fucking flags in their bios and shit. Because this is like nuclear brinksmanship. We're talking about two countries that have come very close to nuclear war multiple times in the past. And we're supporting the continued fucking bellicose nature of our response. The continued complete and utter lack of diplomatic fucking statesmanship. And just like more and more fucking bellicose rhetoric coming out of like I've seen all this shit before. And people don't fail to realize, I think. It's been too many fucking generations since there was a nuclear scare, you know? But these two countries have come like so close to eradicating one another. And now we're doing it again.
What was that submarine movie that was based on that?
Is it Hunt for the Red October?
I think so. But like it was Russians that were like about ready to launch a nuke, and then they changed it to Americans.
Oh, yeah. What is that one?
It's got a what's his face in it?
That doesn't help.
It had what the fuck's Tony Soprano in it too, remember?
Oh yeah, he was like one of the mutinous guys. It's got Denzel in it.
Yeah.
What is that movie? Yeah, it's got Denzel Washington in it.
Crimson Tide.
Crimson Tide.
It is based on a true story, except they switched it from Russians to Americans.
Yeah, they wrote a movie about an actual geopolitical event where there was a Russian sub that was knocked out of contact, and its last order was to fire nuclear missiles. And only because of the first mate's like mutiny did nuclear war not happen. And there are people that are cheering every time we drop more missiles into fucking Ukraine. Every time our leaders say Putin is a murdering pig and committing genocide and shit. And it's like, do you realize what's at stake? I'm not pro-Putin. I don't necessarily disagree with the murdering pig shit.
You're just anti-nuclear annihilation.
But that's how, right. I'm against like 9/10 of the world being wiped out in nuclear hellfire, dude. And there's two countries in this world that if they get into a war with one another could accomplish that. And it's the United States and Russia. I thought you were the bring on the nukes guy. I wish I could go back in time and just never even try the bring on the nukes shit. Bring on the nukes was a way of pointing out how absurd it was that we continually kick the football back and forth and do nothing while the world burns. So if we're going to do that, we may as well bring on the nukes. It was never a call for nuclear war. It was never me lusting after a bomb being dropped on anything. It was actually the opposite. I'll have to re-explain that shit until the day I die.
Yeah. It's like people don't understand hyperbole.
No.
It's like hyperbole has become reality with so many speakers now that
I think that like autism spectrum disorder has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Not to be ableist or whatever, but you know, it's pretty typical of people with ASD to not be able to understand hyperbole and sarcasm. They tend to take things at face value very quickly without having a facility to think about that sort of thing. And I think that that's at play here.
But yeah, I think too, it's just like the Onion has become reality now. Satire is dead.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah, you know, I'm not like, I didn't say everyone was autistic. I said that you, who asked the question, were probably autistic. And I didn't do it in an ableist way. I did it in a way that's backed up by science and is an actual part of the disease. People who are autistic have a hard time dealing with that sort of thing. Right, I'm not saying that everybody with ASD can't figure it out. Obviously, people can. But it's a very particular part of that disorder that people have a hard time distinguishing sarcasm and hyperbole and rhetorical flourish. They tend to be very analytical and they tend to take things at face value. That doesn't mean that all of them do. That doesn't mean that people can't learn within those disorders to do that. It just means that that is a commonality that a lot of people who suffer from ASD share. There you go. It would be like if I turned on this stream at like fucking 3 in the morning and just did this like super like sad like, I don't even want to do this anymore, man. That would be like somebody saying, you know, this might be Paul's depression. Depressives tend to get very down on themselves and have really negative, reinforcing inner voice. It's the same thing.
Yeah. I feel like with depression too, you have a hard time like picturing the future in any positive way.
Mm-hmm.
The future's just like all these bad things could happen.
Yeah. Down to just like every little thing. Down to every little minutia of your life. That's part of, and that's why depression and anxiety are so married in a lot of people. Like my diagnosis is a very common one. A lot of depressives also have panic disorders. And it's because that negative thinking causes this like, you know, when you start thinking about every little moment of your life, every little ache and pain that you feel is a heart attack, every little weird noise one of your animals makes means that they're dying. Every little strange interaction that you have with somebody means that they're pulling away from you. Every little, you know, it's just everything is dripping with negative portent for your life, and then it feeds this like fucking rush of panic. It's like, what am I gonna do?
Like
When this
my
happens,
life
and
is
that
ending.
happens, and my life is like, yeah, I can't afford to do this, and this happens, and oh god, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? You know, and then it just buzzes out. That's just the way it is for me. And the depression is marked by me being able to control at least that response, but still spinning negative fucking, you know. And it's not just negativity about events, it's negativity about yourself too. It's like, in addition to every little thing that happens in your life being some, you know, presaged crisis that's about to happen to you, you're unworthy. you're weak, you're sad, you're a pitiable individual, your family is embarrassed of you, you're not good enough, you don't do enough, you aren't good enough to the people who are good to you, you're lazy, you're stupid, you're, all this, all that shit. It's like, it's at a certain point, for rather regularly, for people like me, that boils over into a fucking full-blown panic attack where it's just like, not only am I fucked, but I can't do anything about it because I'm incapable. I'm fucked and I'm incapable. Your brain sounds like a horrible person, dude. My brain is a nice thing and it's a horrible thing.
Yeah, it's like, imagine reading like a choose your own adventure, but you pick the worst option.
Right. Yeah, every option you pick ends in, the death of a character or some shit, or the death of the main character. You just described a lot of my thoughts during a normal day, but I don't have panic attacks that much. Yeah, it doesn't always come together. Some people just get caught in the depressive cycle where it's just like, what is it? Because the end result is, what does it even matter if I get out of bed? Like, not a single thing will change if I get out of bed today, so I'm just going to stay in bed all fucking day. I'll have days like that, but mine is married with a really aggressive panic disorder. Have you ever played Receiver? No. Not. Oh, man. I've not played Receiver. And Hedonia. Yeah. Well, whatever. Anyway, I'm going to end this. I'll see you guys later. Bye.